For years, smartwatches have been trying harder and harder to become smartphones on your wrist. Bigger displays, more notifications, more apps, more distractions. But the reality is, after the first week of excitement, most people only care about three things: the time, their steps, and their workout data. So this big chunk of weight sitting on your wrist soon starts to become a problem, such that it ends up being a paperweight. So today, I want to show you something that's solving this exact same problem. Meet the all-new Pebble Qore View. Also, thanks to Pebble for partnering with us in this video. Okay, after receiving the package, the first thing that immediately came to my mind, this is a Whoop clone, right? But after a bit of digging, I'd say that is monumentally inaccurate. Whoop is priced significantly higher than this one, and not just that, it locks everything behind yet another pricey subscription. The budget alternative, Fitbit Air, doesn't have a very budget price tag either, but this one does. Starting with the design, this is where I think Pebble has done a surprisingly good job balancing comfort and build quality. See, with a lot of budget fitness bands, you usually have to compromise somewhere. Either they feel lightweight but cheap, or they feel sturdy but become uncomfortable to wear for long periods. The Qore View manages to avoid both of those problems. The build feels solid with no flex or creaks anywhere, and the overall finish is much closer to what you'd expect from a premium fitness wearable than a typical budget band. I also love what they have done with the strap. It's completely made out of fabric, which makes it extremely comfortable to wear throughout the day. And because it is breathable, it feels much less restrictive than the silicone straps you commonly find on smartwatches and fitness trackers. And if this color isn't your thing, you can always wipe it out, just like this. Then there's the weight. The entire band is incredibly lightweight, which is honestly the whole point of moving to a wellness band like this. Unlike a traditional smartwatch that constantly reminds you it's sitting on your wrist, the Qore View almost disappears after a while. Coming from a heavier premium wearer smartwatch, the difference was immediately noticeable, especially during longer work sessions, workouts, and while sleeping. And that's probably the biggest compliment I can give it. Despite being so light, it never feels cheap or flimsy. The fit, finish, and overall wearing experience generally feels much closer to more expensive fitness-focused wearables. It's not trying to be a smartwatch replacement, but in terms of comfort and day-to-day wearability, it definitely punches way above its price. Okay, now let's talk about something that immediately separates the Qore View from almost every other band in this category. Unlike the pricier Whoop, it has a discrete display. Now, before you say, but I thought the whole point was to get away from screens, hear me out. This isn't a smartwatch display. It's not showing you Instagram notifications or asking you to reply to emails. It's a tiny window that shows you exactly four things: the time, your steps, your heart rate, and your battery level. Pebble calls this Quick View, and it's exactly that: a quick look, the information you need, and then you can get on with your day. And honestly, I think that's a smarter approach for a fitness-focused wearable. Premium smartwatches like the Apple Watch, Pixel Watch, or any wearer smartwatch try to do everything. The Qore View does the opposite. It only shows the information that's actually relevant to your health and activity tracking. So while a Whoop gives you no display at all and a smartwatch gives you an entire app ecosystem on your wrist, the Qore View lands somewhere in between. You get the convenience of quickly checking your stats without turning your fitness band into another source of distraction. It's very clever, but also not the only clever thing on the band. It comes with haptics, which plays a major role in how the watch lets you know about alerts. It has got race to wake, so you can just glance at the time whenever you need to. But the most clever feature of all is actually the pairing app experience. This is where Qore View's biggest advantage shows up. Most competing fitness bands in this price range rely on generic third-party platforms. Pebble has built its own dedicated ecosystem from the ground up, meaning the hardware and software are designed together rather than loosely stitched together. And it shows in day-to-day experience. Like in my time using it, syncing has been very reliable, and I haven't run into any noticeable connectivity issues. The interface itself is very clean too. No intrusive ad. I also like how blunt it is. It just says in your face, lack of exercise. Also, look at that AI health score, which gives a complete report of my health, how I currently need more exercise or count in more steps, how my sleep schedule is completely cooked, and also advice to enhance my heart health and promote a calmer physiological state. Also, the ending comes with an overall conclusion. It almost feels like having a personalized summary that makes sense of all the health data being collected. I'm not only amazed by the features themselves, but also the fact that Pebble is not a massive brand backed by tens of billions of dollars like Apple, Fitbit, or even Whoop, but the fact that they have still managed to build something like this without placing a subscription is honestly very, very impressive. So, the itching question is, where are the compromises? This thing only comes with 1 ATM water resistance, which means it is only good for rain, sweat and splashes, but not ideal for swimming. And talking about sports, just look at the number of supported activities. There is good old walking, running, cycling and even hiking. There are at least 100 different supported sport modes in the list. So I started with something simple like walking, and just look at the granular level of data collected. There's calories burned, pace, speed, cadence, stride, steps and heart rate. It also shows the complete graph of the heart rate recorded during this activity. And it also exactly points out the issue. My heart rate was completely in the warm-up zone. Only about 2 minutes of it was in the fat burning zone. And if you click on notes here, it shows the full analysis of the different heart rates and their respective effects on your body. Incredibly helpful to understand the exact zone your heart rate needs to be to get the optimum results you're trying to achieve. By the way, if you level up to running, the Qore View also pairs with the GPS of your phone to track your route. Still, this does not prove accuracy. Let's try something intensive, that is indoor cycling. But before we start, I'm going to set the heart rate upper limit to 160 BPM, which is pretty low for my age. It should be 198, but I'm doing this deliberately to find out if the heart rate warning actually works or not. And then I pushed hard. You can clearly see that in the graph, the heart rate consistently rising. After which, as I was expecting, the app as well as the band repeatedly alerted me about the high heart rate. Right around the 9-minute mark, I took a short break and the heart rate started plummeting. You can literally see it going down in the video. It is also directly comparable with the dip in the recorded graph. This gives me confidence that the sensor readings are responding exactly as I'd expect. It's not showing random numbers. But even outside sport mode, there are other things that this band can do, like measure the HRV, which directly relates to recovery status, or even stress level, which the app tracks separately, SpO2 detection or blood oxygen levels, good old heart rate, and even a one-click measurement that combines the two. Also, if you had been noticing carefully, each and every one of the health features can be scheduled for auto monitoring, which creates these graphs throughout the day. Okay, the standout feature is sleep tracking. It is not just the level of health data collected, but also how comfortable this thing feels while sleeping. The main reason being this layer of fabric that goes on top of the device, so it doesn't stick out like a watch, but also, more importantly, the lightweight factor of the band, just like I mentioned in the design section. But coming back to the features, there's obviously the sleep duration, followed by deep sleep, light sleep, REM sleep, and awake, essentially the different sleep stages. Then there's sleep score, efficiency, and even sleep quality. And these are not just random terms. You can click each of them to find out what they actually mean, as well as to check if the results are acceptable or needs improvement. It also shows the time I took to fall asleep, that is 12 minutes. And then there's the heart rate, blood oxygen, and HRV graphs. Also, all the data can be synced with Health Connect or even Apple Health. Finally, the other things supported by their app, especially those that you don't think about until they're missing: call alerts on your wrist, DND for when you actually need to focus, remote camera shutter, which is surprisingly handy, and a Find My Device feature that has already saved me like twice this week. It does not have speakers, so it just vibrates, but is noticeable enough. Also, having their own app ensures the device gets regular OTA updates, optimizing performance in the long run. One thing that I forgot to mention is this Friends and Family Connect. You can send invitation to anyone you know using Pebble through their app, and then you can start a healthy competition through ranking. It creates that subtle social pressure that pushes you to do better. Okay, now I should mention the battery, because this thing is rated for up to 30 days on single charge, which is honestly insane. And it's not just about convenience. I think there's a much bigger advantage here. If you compare this to an Apple Watch or most wearable smartwatches that cost several times more, you're often charging them every day or every couple of days. And every time they're sitting on a charger, they're not sitting on your wrist, which means they are not tracking your heart rate, they're not monitoring your sleep, and they are not collecting recovery or wellness data. In a way, that creates gaps in the very data these devices are supposed to collect. With something like the Qore View, charging becomes a once-in-a-while event rather than a daily routine. That means it spends significantly more time where it actually matters, on your wrist, continuously collecting health and activity data. As per my experience, I've been using it for several days now, and I still haven't had to charge it since taking it out of the box. It arrived at roughly 90%, and even after days of use, it is still sitting at around 65. And whenever you do eventually run out of battery, the magnetic charger included in the box gets it ready to go again for another long stretch of uninterrupted tracking. Overall, I'm really impressed with the Qore View. What I find particularly interesting is that Pebble isn't treating this as a one-off experiment. The Qore View is a part of the larger Qore series ecosystem. They've expanded the lineup into multiple products, giving users options based on their needs while keeping everything connected through the same platform and app experience. That kind of long-term investment tells me they're very serious about this category. That is all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Do like, share and subscribe, and I'll catch catch you in the next one.